direction. Negativity is getting closer. Hard to keep the heat when it gets colder. You know, sometimes everything just gets hard.
So literally all I've done with my lawn today is water it in the morning through my irrigation system and watch it grow. So we've got a heat wave about to come. It's started already, it's 39 today, it's quite warm out here. Tomorrow's 41, I think the next day's 44, the day after that's 45, and then I've got 2 days of 48. I won't need to water this till Wednesday, and that'll be another deep early morning water. This lawn is going to handle it really well, simply because I've been looking after it. It's well managed. Quite simply, if you're just about to hit a heat wave and you haven't looked after your lawn and it's full of thatch and your ground's hard, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You need to aerate so you get that flow of air, water and nutrients getting to the root zone. You need to deeply water infrequently. You've got to manage your thatch because you don't want that getting so thick that the water, air and nutrients don't get to the soil. Soil wetters are just so important, simply because it keeps that moisture at the root zone. And so soil wetters once a month. And there's no point putting soil wetter down on hard soil. With the extreme heat that we're going to have in the next week, people that have got hard, compact soil are really going to struggle. People that have got lots of thatch are really going to struggle, simply because the water will not get to the root zone. Even if they water, and just basically their lawn's going to bake, and that's no good. I guess 5 things that you really got to do to survive a heat wave. Number 1, aeration. You don't want compact soil. Number 2, manage your thatch. That's as simple as regular mowing, not letting it get too long between cuts, but it can be as complex as groomers, dethatches. Hence, lawn renovations is basically a technique to manage your thatch. Number 3, soil wetters. Soil wetters will get that water past the soil into the root zone where it's needed and help stop evaporation. Number 4 is deep, infrequent, early morning waterings. So when I mean a deep watering, I'm talking about putting down an inch and a half of water early morning. So just before the sun rises, or while during the sun rises, we do that simply because we don't want evaporation. We want that water getting into the soil and not being hit by heat straight away. We also do that deep watering to train the roots to grow deep into the soil. Obviously, if you're on water restrictions, 15 minutes a day, I'd be doing that at 6 AM every day. If you're on water restrictions, you need to have some sort of smart irrigation. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult for you. You'll have to do things like watering cans, etc. I will do a future video about what you can do during water restrictions. And number 5, just be very careful with your fertilizing. Extreme heat and fertilizer doesn't go well together. The first suggestion and the easiest thing to do is really wait. Just keep your water up. If you do need to fertilize, well, I would use very low level balanced fertilizer like Launch Plus, and I'd be doing it very early in the morning before the heat comes along. But really, if you're hitting temperatures like what we are, 48 degrees, I would just leave it alone and ride it out, especially if your lawn's in fairly good nick. Well, my lawn is filling in very nicely with the charger. It's looking totally fantastic. All I did today was just water and just watch it being watered in nice and early this morning. So after I did my watering and did some chores around the house this morning, doing a big clean out of the house, my mate Lee came around and borrowed my groomer. He also borrowed the Ego Edger. That's a really nice and powerful machine. So this is Lee's little patch. This is the Ego. This is the power tool. So we've got the interchangeable cartridges, or poles, or whatever you want to call them. This is the Edger, and it's a complete work of art. I've used it a couple of times, as you can see by the blade there. What I do like about it is this little guide here has got a split, so you follow that. That wheel's adjustable. I've got it set on the highest height, and that line goes right through the debris cover. It is a nifty little piece of equipment. So Lee's going to turn it on. There we go. Very cool. I'd go a little bit deeper with yours. Do that. That's as deep as it'll go.
Oh, yeah, it's right in there.
Yeah. Is that what you want, or I'm going to go a little bit up?
Oh, we'll just have a look, just see what it does.
Yeah. That's a nice, neat edge, isn't it?
Yeah.
That got right in there. Look at that. Look at all the look at all this nice soil on your. Yeah. It's good. Look it out. So it's nice and quiet. Very powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that really got in there. A couple of goes with it as well. You need to sort of, do it a couple of times.
Nice little bit of thatch hiding in there.
So casually keep diving into concrete. So bittersweet. Huh? Keep losing sleep while driving in the backseat. What's left of me? Drowning in what feels just like an ocean. Negativity is getting closer. Hard to keep the heat when it gets colder. You know, sometimes everything just gets hard. Sometimes everything just gets harder.
Quite a bit of material coming out of that. It's amazing, isn't it?
Grooming is vertically cutting the grass. It's taking out excess laterals, a bit of thatch, and chopping the top of the plant to create more growing points. Lee's lawn was quite thick, it's never been groomed before, so we got about 3 buckets of thatch and excess laterals out of it. It was quite thick. The main benefit of grooming is obviously thatch management. Removing laterals that cause thatch and also pulling out a bit of thatch as well. It's always handy. The blades are just above the soil surface, they don't hit the soil, and it nips into the crown of the plant, creating more growing points. So you're sort of thinning it out to thicken it up more or less. You crisscross your passes in all different directions, and you do it many times over, especially for a first timer who hasn't groomed his lawn before, because it's quite a bit of work for him to do. And it really teases it up. He will give this a cut with his beautiful 14-inch cylinder mower that he did up himself, and you can see here that it's brought up a bit of the thatch layer, so there will be a little bit of repair of this, and it's growing quite quickly at the moment, so 3-4 days those patches of thatch that are showing will pretty much be covered over by some new growth.
So, given it quite the tease up, this will recover in a few days, 3 or 4 days, it'll be all nice and green again. And will be much better consistency. Thins it out, lets the air, water and nutrients get to the soil, get to the root zone. It doesn't get so thick that it's causing excess thatch. Yeah, so you're thinning it out to thicken it up really.
Don't panic, mate. The first one's always a bruiser. It's always a bruiser, mate. It's all good.